So our next speaker this morning is Simon Gillis, and we are delighted to have him. He is the replacement of Lynn Allen, who unfortunately couldn't be with us due to ill health. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a title called 5 Waves of Disruption. You're going to be a handful, huh, Simon? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Simon Gillis, Technical Sales Manager, Autodesk, to the stage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
Very much. Oh, good morning, everyone. That's a tough one to live up to when I've got to replace Lynn Allen. So let's see what we can do. So, Pat's shown some amazing technology there. Absolutely incredible. And it's really being driven by a need to change. The world is changing. We as Autodesk are having to change rapidly to meet that world. And what I want to take you through is really some thought-provocation here to make you start to think about where you are today and where you may be going as a business. So it's really going to be about the waves of disruption. How do you change? How do you change to make sure that you are in the right place to be able to continue to succeed in such a fast-changing world? So, who remembers this? When this was as smart as a phone got. I certainly remember it. I'm definitely old enough. This is how smart a phone used to be. And what about when the market was the corner shop? When the world seemed a much easier place. Everything happened at a pace. It was gentle. It came at us so that we could make decisions and take our time to make those decisions. But what about now? We're in a much more connected world. Pat talked about the smartphone. It enables us to do much more wherever we are. It's a much more connected world. It's coming at us very fast. The corner shop has been replaced by the large supermarket. The world itself has become very complex. Small villages have been subsumed into the global village, the connected global world. It's happening fast. It's volatile. It's uncertain. It's complex. And it's ambiguous. And underlying that are trends. The whole fact that the world is changing so fast and is so volatile means that with those trends that are going on that are disrupting the way we have been in the past, if we can embrace them, then we can continue to move forward. So this is really about those trends for business. So, the first one, the wave of disruption. If we can harness these waves, we can be successful. So let's talk about the first one, access and experience. In the United Kingdom, HMV, a well-known, large music and video provider, it went into liquidation. Why? People didn't want to stop listening to music. They didn't want to stop watching video. So why? Why have they gone out of business? It's because the way people want to access and experience music and video has changed. And as a business, they took their eye off the ball. And they've now paid for that. It's a very similar experience to Borders in the United States. Same story. So, if you think about books, it's not because people don't want to read the story anymore. They can access it on the Amazon Kindle. Anytime, anywhere. A whole range of different literature can be accessed wherever you are in the world. Music can be streamed. You can get any album, any piece of music that you require from many different sources, but you can stream it. What about all of you in front of me here today? All of the clothes that you are wearing, fine. But what about the clothes you're not wearing? They're sitting at home in your wardrobe. They're doing nothing. So we've now seen companies popping up around the globe who are actually renting clothing. You have a special occasion. Why go and buy that very expensive dress for your wife when really you can go and rent it? This is an example of the United Kingdom called Wish Want Wear. There's one in the US called Rent the Runway. What about if you've got a hobby, you've got an interest? Do you want to go and buy a whole load of machinery? Do you want lathes and cutting machines in your garage? Not necessarily. What about if you can go and access those at a facility like Tech Shop, where you can go and start to create and manufacture your ideas up in your head? It's changing the way people access and experience. So that leads me on to the second wave of disruption, business unusual. And surely this is definitely where we've been seeing the world change most. Business is definitely changing. So let's think about how people finance. Kickstarter. Scott Johnson wanted to produce a watch based off of the iPod Nano, and he needed some finance for it. He only needed a certain amount, $15,000, but within a couple of weeks he had over $1 million pledged. Within a year, he had that manufactured. He had that sitting in the Apple store next to big names like Nike and Bose. A small individual who had an idea. He started from nothing. But he went out and got financing from a different source. He got financing from the crowd. He didn't go to his bank. He went to other people like himself. And he got the money to move it forward. Li and Fung. I would venture that a lot of you in this room have never heard of Li and Fung. They're a $16 billion organization. They manufacture over 40% of the world's clothing. They are an agile business. They are a network of businesses. They sit at the heart of an agile network of 10,000 supply chain members. If you give them a request for a proposal, they can turn that around in a day. They can change dynamically to meet the needs of their customers. It's a different way of doing business. Being agile, being fast, meeting the demands of a very fast-changing world very, very quickly. Well, that part of Business Unusual leads me on to open innovation and the way that ideas are being found, how things are changing. So, for example, when the scientific community had a problem around HIV, it had taken them years to solve. So they put it out to the crowd. And through social invention, they came up with an answer within a matter of weeks. And that answer did not come from scientists. It came from people like yourselves. It's a change. It's a change in the way that we work. So, back to Business Unusual. If you think about it, in the old days, great ideas often came from the big corporations. It was a top-down approach. This, for example, an example of NASA. So when they wanted a new lunar lander, did it come from NASA? Did they set their own designers on it? No. They went out to a small startup called Moon Express. A very small team of very clever, up-and-coming, bright young people. Agile, able to adapt, and could come up with a solution very quickly for them. It's a different way of doing business. So let's get on to the third wave. Pat's talked about this as well. Digital manufacturing. Make no bones about it. This is definitely going to change the way we create. The 3D printer, as has been mentioned, is getting cheaper in price. It's coming down. It's often thought of as being at component level today. What it's doing is getting people who've got an idea, who've got a design, out there to manufacture as quickly as they want. It could be a limited production run, of course. But you've got an idea, you're artistic, you're creative, but you want to make what you're going to design. This has put the power into your hands to do it. Hostile environments, somewhere where you can't get access to your supply chain, whether that's space or out on the battlefield. By printing what you need when you need it, means you don't have to have a massive logistical supply chain. But what about putting that to even better use? What about where you've got areas where there's no shelter? Where people find shelter hard to come by. So this is a great example from the University of Calatrava in Spain. It takes local agents such as sand, mix it with a sustainable, LEED-approved binding agent, and through robot technology enables you to spray the shape that you require through shelter, to create shelter. But think about how this moves on. This is an example from the UK's BBC website. Architects are now talking about how they can 3D print entire buildings. We're not just talking about these small MakerBot machines now. We're talking about a much larger scale. Dubai has fantastic examples of world-leading architecture. Personally today, Burj Khalifa is definitely my favourite building. But if you think about how people are designing moving forward, shapes are getting more complex, designs are getting more out there. But how can you manufacture them? Often the builder would say, I can't build that. Well, you can now. What if you print it? Print the concrete design that was before impossible. It's opening up new possibilities for design, and that's very, very exciting. But it's also enabling people who require shelter in third world countries to get shelter as well. So there are many possibilities that digital manufacturing is opening up. Just to intertwine some of those, 3D printing, but out on site. So an example of someone who's got an idea, he's gone to Kickstarter for a 3D printing power tool. It's connected to the computer-aided design system. You feed it the instructions, and it will go off and do your routing and your cutting for you. Incredible idea that someone's had that he can turn into reality through crowdfunding. But we can take that to a much different level. I struggle to get my head around this one, but the 3D printing at atomic level, being able to 3D print genes, is opening up whole new possibilities. What about if in the future you could 3D print your own CAD operators? It might be a possibility. Replacement parts, who knows? The important thing is things that we thought of years ago as totally impossible are starting to happen now. If we open our minds, we can start to think about, where is the world going to go? In 50 years' time, who can imagine what sort of place we're going to be in? The speed that it's changing, the technological possibilities that are opening up are really incredible. So that brings me on to my fourth wave. And this is something we talk about called ambient intelligence. So, the good old parking meter. You used to feed it with coins. Your time often overran, you got a parking ticket. Now, if you think about it, many of them now, they're connected because you can put your credit card into them. As soon as you start to tie them into a system, they join the Internet of Things. They're connected. Connected parking meters. So, what about if you could take the information behind that? If they're now connected to a computer network, what about if you can let a person who wants to park know when a space will become available? That meter knows that a car that's in there is only parked until a certain time, or that someone has just left that space through a sensor network. That puts power into the hands of people to be able to park more smartly. It's live in San Francisco. It's being trialled in London. It's starting to happen. The ability to take a sensor network and really utilize the information behind it. And we can take that a step further. I'm sure most of you have heard of Google Glass. Think about the possibilities this opens up. Perhaps as a building manager, I walk around and I tap my glasses. I don't see the ceiling tiles. What I see is the HVAC equipment behind it. I tap again and I see who installed that piece of equipment. Who do I ring if I need it to be serviced? Who do I call if I need a part changing? It gives me power in my hand. Maybe in the future, when I go and meet one of you, you don't give me your business card. I don't give you my business card. We tap our glasses and we automatically get our LinkedIn profile. Who knows? It's a possibility. So ambient intelligence is improving the way that we interact with the world. There are chips now. You can embed them in concrete. They don't need power because they're powered via vibration. So what about if you can monitor your actual building in use? Tie to a sensor network that lets you know how hot or how cold a certain area is. If it's not occupied, why is there power going to it? Can you switch that power off when it's not occupied? It opens up a realm of possibility. And all of this is made possible by the fifth wave, the wave of infinite computing. We've often thought of computing as an expensive resource, something that we have to ration. But that's really not the case. If we think about other assets, The price of computing is almost free. Computing power is now so vast. So oil's going up, gold's going up, steel's going up, traditional assets, they're always going to increase in price, but not computing power. It will continue to plummet. So if I have a problem and I need to solve that problem, if I only use one computer, it's going to take me a long time. It's probably going to cost me the same as throwing that problem to 10,000 computers. If I'm a facade engineer, how do I run as many optimizations as possible to get the best design solution? Maybe I want to optimize and protect against solar radiation. Maybe in the past I've done it a few times, done a few iterations, but what if I can do 10,000 iterations and get the results really, really quickly? It's going to improve the outcomes. So this has got a significant benefit. But also, if we throw a problem at the cloud, what we're also seeing is the fact that mobile computing is becoming more ubiquitous. Access anywhere at any time. It's putting computing power in the hands of people who never had it in the past. If you're a designer, it doesn't matter where you are. You could be sitting on the sofa watching TV, you could be on a plane, but you could still be designing and working and coming up with the best solution. As soon as you connect, you've connected with the rest of your design team. They can carry on working and exploring that design. That's the power that we're seeing now. This is the transformation. When I think back to when I started on the good old drawing board, I could never imagine this world where I would sit on the couch at night and be able to do free-form modeling. I just would never have thought it possible. So mobile computing, combined with the power of the cloud, leads really to infinite computing. And this ability to access a resource, wherever we are, whenever. And that is what's really changing the world. And Autodesk as a business is adapting for that change. So, some different aspects there around these waves of disruption. On one hand, you've got the crowd, the social network of different individuals on a global basis who can solve problems together, who can fund new ideas, combined with the power of the cloud to enable you to do more whenever you want to. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for your time. Really going to enjoy being in Dubai for the next few days. Hope to meet some of you over the course of the day. I hope you enjoy Autodesk University Extension Dubai. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Simon. And so to coin your expression, anywhere, anytime, if I decide against my husband's will to have a car 3D printed tonight, by tomorrow morning I could have a car. This is very cool. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to Simon. After our coffee break this morning, we are all going to be separating into different breakout rooms, influenced by your pre-registered selections online. The main stage session is going to be remaining here between 10:30 and 12:30 p.m. and again 2:30 till 4 o'clock this afternoon. And all the other breakout rooms are going to be on the first level, between the rooms Dubai and Fujairah. There will be ushers that will be able to guide you and take you to your corresponding rooms. For further event details, we encourage you to download the official mobile app, which is Event Pilot, from your iStore or indeed your Play Store, and enter the event code AUX Dubai, either in lower or capital case. Next door, however, ladies and gentlemen, there is a photo opportunity in front of the groovy AUX logo at the AU booth. Do go there and enjoy a photo, either of yourself or as a team. But right now, there is some freshly brewed Starbucks coffee awaiting for you all next door, and will be recommencing in 25 minutes in your respective breakout rooms. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the coffee break. We'll see you back in 25 minutes.